Oh yeah. Kodash, Kodash, Kodash. Adonai, Elohim, Sabayah. Meaning holy, holy, holy. Lord of hosts. And that prayer and mantra being said, it is said to distinguish and remove any negative energy and vibrations from amongst the airways, the ether of the breath of life at any given time. That is the prayer that the angels, ether beings sing day and night to the Most High, or Al Kalun the All in One, the One in All. The Most High is in all things in duality, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Yah, He, Va, He, as a collective whole, creating a tetragrammaton. Those four syllables equaling the divine masculine, which is the Father who art in heaven, the divine feminine, which would be Mother Nature, the womb, the earth, or planet Tiamat, where mankind was formed and created. Va, which is their creation. In the beginning, Elohim said, let us create them in our image. Back to He, which is a divine feminine, which would be Anna Chokma, which is off the Hebrew Sephiroth chart. And Anna Chokma means mother, wisdom, that is referred to over and over throughout the Bible and the Holy Text, together creating the Tetragrammaton. As above, so below, in duality. The macro prosophis above and the micro prosophis below, because we are the microorganisms and the host of the Elohim. Now, today we about to get into a real deep subject. Before I go back into the Kabbalion, not the Kabbalah, breaking down the seven Hermetic principles on, how things that you can apply to your daily life to unlock your God-given power. Like it says in Psalms 82, ye are all God's children of the Most High. And a few lines others say that God judgeth in the congregation of the gods. Who are these gods? Just like angels are called the B'nai Elohim. They are sons of God, So same way we are, because we were created in the image to be a light and a reflection. And that is the topic in which I am going to get into today, which the Spirit has put upon me to connect the dots by finding the consistency and pattern in things through studying multiple holy texts, holy scriptures, and seeing the consistency and patterns in them, because that's where the truth lies. And today we're going to go into 9Ether and 6Ether. 9Ether being the Israelites, the spiritualites, and 6Ether being the Edomites or the spiritual death. And we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to, do a little commentating on references of where I get this ideology and concept from, but it's not far-fetched because there's so many people out there teaching these things, but everybody has their own unique way of teaching and presenting these things. But this is how the Spirit presented it to me. And we're going right into the book called 9Ether, All right, let's jump right into it. This is page 10. It says, 9 attributes of Aether from ancient science are. And Aether is the same thing as ether, just like when you get the Akashic records, I told you about your vibrational frequency. That's why I'm teaching those 7 Hermetic principles, because one of the principles and laws in there is vibration and rhythm, and your vibration is what connects you to the ley lines, that are kind of like a spider web. Have you ever heard the story about Prophet Muhammad, how he was saved, by hiding in the cave, and those that were pursuing him didn't look in the cave because they seen a fresh form spider web, and that spider web is symbolic to what the ley lines are, because if you put any natural minerals like salt onto a magnetic plate and play a sound frequency hertz like a 999 hertz, 777. These sound waves are vibrations, just like the Most High is a divine frequency. In the beginning, He spoke things into existence, and they were. So by these, that's why your throat chakra is very important, because the things you say, the throat chakra is blue. It deals with communications, and these communications deal with wrath or kindness, which is a duality. You know, what you can say can inspire somebody, uplift them, motivate them, and change their mood by using mentalism, which is another one of the seven hermetic principles. Or you can say something negative to them in wrath, negative with which would be wrath, and literally you can mess their day up. You can lower their vibration. So this is the power of the mentalism in the mind, and what I mean by every thought turns into an action. And by your thoughts turning into the action, that means you are materializing your inner essence, your esoteric, into the exoteric, external, physical realm by manifesting it, bringing it into existence. This is the power in which we have. So let's get right into it. This is page 10 out of 9Ether, and it goes into the 9 attributes of ether from ancient science are: ether permeates all of nature. Nature is below, as above, so below. Above is the cosmos, and nature would be below. Duality. Ether permeates all of nature, the universe, and existence. Number two, ether is primordial, essential, and fundamental. Number three, ether exists in outer space, the sky, and heaven. In Hebrew, we know the word heaven means the Shemayim. Four, ether exists within the upper air. The upper air in the atmosphere. Make sure the video's still on. All right. Yeah, number four, ether exists within the upper air in the atmosphere. Number five, ether is related to the breath and breathing. That's why in the beginning, when mankind was created in the womb of Mother Nature, the earth, planet Tiamat, from the earth, and the breath of life was breathed into them, into Atom, which physically would be, you would know it as a man of atom, but esoteric, spiritually, it would be atom, energy form. So number five is ether is related to the breath and breathing, the ether, the airways. Number six, ether is needed for life. Number seven, ether can incinerate and burn. Number eight, ether is related to light. That's why you hear a lot of other spiritual people say, "I shed." Remember, I was just telling you about the Akashic records and spider web with Muhammad, and how it's connected to ley lines. Everything is connected in the cycle of life. Nothing is by coincidence. Number eight, ether is related to light. Number nine, ether is associated with energy. All right, now let's jump on to page 20 out of here. Watch how I break this down. You know, when I read things, my remembrance kick in. Your remembrance is your soul and your spirit. It's everything is encoded in your DNA, from past lives to future lives, and even when you take your last breath and go back into the ether, the energy state of consciousness, you're still conscious and fully aware, in depth. So let's read right here. All right. It says, however, ultraviolet. Now, let's hold that right there. We know the chakras start off as red, root chakra. Orange would be the sacral chakra. The solar plex chakra, which is yellow. The next chakra is the heart chakra, which is green. The next chakra is the throat chakra, which is blue. Communications, wrath for kindness. The next chakra would be indigo, which would be the third eye, intuition, clairvoyance, inner essence abilities beyond the physical realm. And then the crown chakra, the highest, would be violet, which is, the spirituality and consciousness. The crown chakra, and on the dual side, it is the dual side of that would be pride and humility, because humility is the opposite of spirituality, and pride is what leads to humility, which is ignorance. But on the good side, ultraviolet radiation, called UVB, between the frequencies of 940 THz to 1070 THz, meaning hertz, can affect a person's genetic DNA, cause, causes melanogenesis, in the book of Genesis, which in Hebrew is Bereshith, meaning in the beginning, but it's also Genesis means the generations of Isis, which comes from the Anunnaki texts, and it breaks that down in the Holy Tablets, which it has a lot of, you know, pieces of the book of the Holy Tablet in here, which we're about to go into. It says the melanin within the skin of African or Ethiopian people is indeed a genetic DNA trait inherited from the sun. We know in the Greater and Lesser Keys of Solomon, the planetary name for the sun is Shemesh. Shemesh meaning the light, the children of light. Also the children of Shem as well. This is where but the Ethiopians got their names from, but also, this is referring to all melanated people. And it told you that the Israelites will look like the Ethiopians, but let's just keep going on further. Uh, Ethiopian people is indeed a genetic DNA trait inherited from the sun, which would be Shemesh on the planetary chart in the Greater and Lesser Keys of Solomon. The first one would be Shabbatai, which is Saturn. That's where you get the word Shabbat from. The next one would be Tezadek, would be Jupiter. The next one would be Madem, which is Mars. The next one would be Nogag, which is Venus. The next one would be Shemesh, which is the sun. And the seventh will be Levana, which is the moon. It says, since UVB ultraviolet rays are the fastest frequency of light that come to Earth from the sun, it is indeed a fact that the DNA of African or Ethiopian people came from the fastest frequencies of light from the sun. And believe it or not, before Africa was called Africa, the whole land of Africa was called Ethiopian. All the people of Africa, Northeast Africa, even Israel, which we know today, was all Ethiopian, because Israel was just Northeast Africa. They make you think it's the Middle East, but it's really not. It is still Ethiopia, which is African. So people of African descent. All right. So indeed, ether people have genies determined by the heat of the sun, or sun heat genes, your genes. Because just like it's plasma in your DNA, when you go to a blood bank, they extract your blood. Sometimes they have preserves of blood, but also to use your plasma to create medicines and so on. The sun produces plasma, these rays that hit you that unlock your DNA. That's why a lot of times they tell you the sun is bad for you, but remember, everything is in reverse. A lot of things that these people told you is good for you is bad for you. A lot of things that people told you is bad for you is actually good for you. That's why they said the devil, which is Satan, and the holy tablets, which would be Satan backwards, is Natas, which I rebuke the whole evil inclination from this planet, and the Hashem of El Shaddai, the Almighty, because the Most High has 72 attributes. But, you know, his job was, which is a system of entities meaning energies of the ether as well. We're going to get into that some more too. You know, uh, kill, steal, and destroy, and the author of confusion, you know, which confusion, which we're gonna get into the 6 ether aspect of that, are determined by the heat of the sun or sun heat genies. Dark colors absorb more frequencies of visible light. Thus, the melanin that exists in African people with dark skin facilitates the absorption of light energy, ether, from the sun, just like the chlorophyll. Let me try to sound it out. Chlorophyll, whatever that word is. Pigment. You know, I have the nickname blue because right around my eye it's a blue ring, and that is considered a pigmentation, which you would call neuromelanin. You know, I call it my seal, you know, my spiritual seal. Pigment in the plants enables the photosynthesis of sun energy, and dark solar panels enables the production of solar energy. Moreover, melanin is an electrically conductive substance used to create solid state organic electronic devices. You know, even in your phones, computers, everything, they have to use crystals, natural elements of the earth, which contain energy frequencies, you know, to be able to make these devices, you know, receive from Wi-Fi. And like thinking Most High source as your Wi-Fi box, and you are the device. In order for you to get those signals, you have to tap into the magneticism. Remember, I was telling you about the salt, magnetic plate, and grafting the energy, from around you and the ley lines. That's how the Most High works with you. Let's make sure we still on. Because it's deep. Whenever you got a good message, sometimes the phones will cut off, things will stop working. That's why when I record these videos, I do turn the Wi-Fi off, so there is no outside forces being able to tap into the device, because wickedness and these energy entities work in very strange ways. But like I was saying, look at the Most High spider web as ley lines, energy fields, and look at the Most High as source as a Wi-Fi box, and you being a device that is receiving this energy from the invisible realm, which you don't see the Wi-Fi as it's connecting to your device and your phone. As well, you don't see the ethereal energy connecting to you from source. So remember that, you know. All right. Moreover, melanin is electrically conductive substance used to create solid states organic electronic devices. Remember, I was telling you about the crystal. In an experiment conducted in the 1970s, scientists have shown that melanin can emit light in a process called electroluminescence. All right. Now we're about to get more into it deep. And I'm going to go page 26 to 31. All right. Remember what I told you. 9 Ether. Israelites. Or you could say spiritualites, The Melanites. Or you could say 6 Ether. The Edomites. The spiritual death. But, don't take my word for it. Let's go into this. Now, this is giving you references out of the Holy Tablet. Holy tablets break down the whole creation story that you have in the Bible, just in the energy state, of cause and effect. So, a harmonious flow of energy and life in the form of light messages must travel to the being, rendering each being's inner self etheric. The Holy Tablets, Chapter 7, The Living Soul, Tablet 4. If you go back onto my YouTube videos, I did a couple videos on the Holy Tablet talking about this. But let's see. Now I actually have a book that says the same thing. I was reading that off a download on my phone. Now, right here. 9 ether will become 6 ether through time and age. Die. 6 ether becomes ghost through time and age. And look at the word ghost. Ghost is a short word for host, because these energies live within you, So when you leave your body, they will say you are ghosts because you're not seeing in the physical matter. You are in an ether state of intelligence. 6 ether is 9 ether and death. So 6 ether would be spiritual death of 9 ether, you know. And remember what it says in the book of Revelation, 666, the mark of the beast. And throughout the other precepts of the Bible, it tells you that this beast is a system of individuals in high and wicked places, principalities and rulers of the darkness. We are not we full aware of who is in high places right now and controlling, the religious systems and narrative of the world that is putting this poison out and, contaminating the people with, this blasphemy, these lies, and also being these false prophets, that add and take away, kill, steal, and destroy. But let's go further into it. 9 ether will become 6 ether through time and age. Die. 6 ether becomes ghost through time and age. 6 ether is 9 ether and death. Spiritual death. 9 ether. And ghost is the death of 6 ether. After the death of 6 ether, 9 ether resurrects again. Remember, the Messiah died on the 9th hour. The Messiah deals with a lot with the number 9, just like you know how it said the Messiah was born from a virgin. Well, what is the 9th month? It is the virgin month, the Virgo constellation, Stargate. That's why constellations are very important. Like I said in other video, that's why Job cursed his birth. It says that in the Bible. When you go into 6 and 7 books of Moses, which I did a video on that as well, the astrological influence upon man, it said Job cursed his constellation. Why is constellations key? Because the Stargate, the ethereal energy of when you came into existence through time, space, and matter. Let's go on. The Holy Tablets, Chapter 1, the Creation Tablet 1, Epic of Creation, and before verses 24 through 26. Etherans are 720 degrees. Now look at that, 720 degrees. What is 7 and 2? 9. Okay, this number 9. 72. I told you about the 72 attributes of the Most High. Told you about the Anabakoach prayer, which you can find on my page as well. 360 square and 360 circle. Round. What is 3 and 6? 9. Let's keep going on. The Etherans, basically saying the melanated people are crystal light energy from Elion. Remember when I was doing a video on the rainbows, those that follow all my videos, what did I say when I read the 24 elders? And I was telling you about the Nunakai, Texas, the connections, and one being Ilium or Al Kalun, the all in one, the one in all. That's why I've been breaking these 7 hermetic principles down to you guys out of Kabbalion because it's very key. It's basically giving you the internal, knowledge of these things. The highest place and can take on the form of anything. The Etherans are the providers. Ritzkuian, and they police the universe in respect as far as beings responsible for living things. These are your soul gods, your spiritual gods, your guardian angels. We like good angels because they do things for us, and we don't like bad angels because they hurt us. They are not concerned with this, but must maintain the universe to prevent a star holocaust. They personify to whomever, and their assignment is the guardians of life. They Ritzkuians perspire and transform from Ritzkuians to Etherans and from Etherans to Ritzkuians. you transform too. Every time you perspire, something leaves from your body. The Ritzcuians claim to be the parents of the Nubians. They are the builders of the pyramids. The Ritzcuians are physical beings evolving towards Etherans, energy or light beings. Shemesh, which is the sun. Shem, the children of light, which we call the Israelites. You know, um, the Etherans, who are the guardians, are equivalent to what you call spiritual or angelic beings. Their main concern is the intellect. The man from the planet Ritz, page 109 to 111. This will be in the Holy Tab. Let's make sure the video is still on. All right, Salah, Salah, Salah. Hallelujah. Praise ye Yah. Question: are the other writers who teach about 9 Ether? Are there other writers who teach about 9 Ether? Answer: yes, 9 Ether is discussed in books called the Nine Ball Liberation Information Counts by the authors Wu Nu Pu, Asu Nu Pu, and Naba Nu Pu. 9 Ether is the mental power. One of the 7 Hermetic principles is mentalism. You know, that's why you got to pay attention to those videos. And I think y'all that's been following them, because what you don't comprehend now, it's going to unlock in your DNA in the right time. And it's going to come to your full awareness, you know, as we get deeper in this awakening period. You know, first part of the awakening period was just finding out who you are and, you know, your spiritual side. You know, it's a great thing, you know, but understanding how to unlock your God power, the particle, you know, being that you are a light and a reflection. You are not just a weak individual being that has no power, you know, has no dominion, and can't fight off your oppressors or people that take crafty counsel against you, like Psalms 83 says they take crafty counsel against my people to come together under one consent to cut them off from being a nation. Why do they want to cut you off from being a nation? Because as a collective consciousness, you are more powerful, more things are able to happen. But that's exactly what the elect is going to do in this end time, because he's going to have to cut the time short for the elect's sake, because it's going to get so intense and so many things is going to happen. But in that time, that collective consciousness is what's going to unlock the natural disasters and other things that's going to happen upon Earth. But let's keep going on. You know, 9 Ether is the mental power and chemical forces that grew the universe. 9 Ether is the combination of all existing gases and chemicals, you know, your chemical structure. Remember, I told you when a man and a woman are, you know, intimate, you know, a semen comes out. A semen is a chemical, which is a liquid, which when it is put inside of a woman, eventually it becomes a solid. Where does that liquid come? It comes from the brain, a chemical that is in the brain. Let's go on. And gases would be considered, you know, the breath of life of the ether. But let's go on, let's go on, let's go on. 9 Ether is the original forces of order. 9 Ether began as a spontaneous fire, you know, fire symbolic to spirit, and pre-medieval chaos, and grew bodies from itself called true stars, the star seeds, the chosen seeds, or suns, Shemash, light, plasma, DNA, one of which is the sun of our solar system, Sol Ra. You know, that's what some people in Egyptian culture, they say Amin Ra, you know, you say Amin at the end of every prayer, but I told you I say Amin Ta. The first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Ta being the last, Mim being the mediator. Mim. You know, but it all goes hand in hand. That's why you should never shun upon anybody's, you know, spiritual belief system in ignorance, because Akalun all is in all things, you know. He and she, the us. 9 Ether produced the bodies of the sun, and in turn, the sun produced 9 Ether. 9 Ether is black. Therefore, You know, the word black is translated so many times. That's why people don't know. Another name for the Moors is black. You know, Native Americans, because think about it. King Solomon and all of them was coming over to this land, America, before uh, Christopher Columbus ever even found this land. You gotta think it. Some people believe, and it's not far fetched that the maps are in reverse. And actual Egypt was over here in America, close to Memphis, and that the state of Utah is actually, the Hebrew word for Judah is Yahuda. Judah, Utah, you put the Y on Utah, and when you go through Utah, all the biblical places in the Bibles, mountains, geographical locations all line up. So it's not far fetched, but it gets deeper. And remember, at one point in time, all the continents were connected. They might have told you it was hundreds of thousands of years ago before they separated, but you got to take everything these people say with a grain of salt, because their whole job, if they stole your culture, they're going to reverse history. History just means his story. It's somebody's story. His story, history, you know. But it gets deep. 9 ether produced the bodies of the sun, and in turn, the sun produced 9 ether. 9 ether is black, another word for more, Aboriginal Indians. All of them all come from the same people, even the Israelites. You got to think about it. Remember Spain, the Spaniards, went to the South America area, which would be like Spanish people. They're actually lighter than them, but they're Europeans, and you gotta realize when the blacks and the Spanish collaborated, that's how you got Mexicans. That's how you got these Colombians, Puerto Rico, which we know as the Puerto Riches, a lot of them, they have the Negroid descent, just because of the inbreeding, and a lot of people, it's very tricky, but it's not hard to decipher when you have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to go with it. Let's go on. Remember what I told you about the reversing of the maps. It's a lot of information. You got to just take this information, you have to let it simmer, meditate on it, and, just follow the consistencies and patterns, because land massings is not going to take away, whether it's over there or over here, your spiritual belief. But just remember that we were all lied to, by people that kill, steal, and destroy, and are the author of great confusion, which are the opposite of a spiritual light. They actually dim lights, but let's go on. Those 666 beef, those the beast system, those people in principalities, kind of similar to municipalities, rulers of the darkness, the shadow realm. They do things behind the scene. They hide real good, but always come out as the hero, but the time is up. Because listen to the information I'm saying. How am I even able to decipher these things and say these things? How I am saying them. Because I guarantee you it's really clicking with a lot of people that are watching this right now. Some people already know it and felt it, but they just needed that confirmation. Well, that confirmation is here. Just keep going. Therefore, the bodies of the sun are black, jet black. 9 ether is our powers in nature and by nature, which we know as the divine feminine, mother nature. Why do you think on Pocahontas, when they went there to the indigenous people, they called them savages? You always have to demonize and discredit somebody because they're able and capable to tap in things that you can't because you are not them. That's why Pocahontas talked about the spirits of the wind. She talked to the trees. She talked to the animals. Mother Nature, even when the dude got shot, she gave him a little piece of Grandma Willow bark, for the pain, You know, people gonna call somebody savage just like they're gonna tell you you're the worst thing on the planet because they hate you. Because you can do things. That's why they have to kill your spirit. 6 ether is 9 ether in death, the spiritual death, which is the opposing force, the opposite in duality. Let's make sure our video's still on. Oh yeah, yeah. We in the business. It's a lot. All right. Just remember that. there's so many messages, in these movies, throughout historical facts and records. Follow the consistency and pattern. Words are very powerful. That's why they try to make you feel bad about what you are and who you are and what you are capable of. I'm not to say that everybody on that other side is bad, but they inherited lies from their forefathers. So they were taught to believe these things. And that's why the Most High said, surely they are going to come and bow and worship at your feet and say that we inherited lies. Our forefathers lied to us. That's very key. The 9 ball count, one liberation information. 6 ether is 9 ether in death. To put it in another way, when 9 ether dies, it becomes 6 ether. As stated in count one of the booklets, the 9 balls, 9 ether is the completed combination of all existing gases and chemicals. That's why melanin is carbon. You know, I know y'all probably heard this from other spiritual teachers too. It's a lot of them out there. I ain't gonna say their names, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. You know, one that they just put under the jail and they trying to put a case against, just like they did to Dr. Malachi York. And I'm talking about Rashad Jamal. You know, he has his perspective, I had my perspective, but as a collective consciousness, we're all going to work these things out. Shout out to brother Abdul Seer, Big Judah, Big Levi, brother Maine, and all those others that finally have tapped into this knowledge and are waking other people up. Like I said, we get through the first awakening process, just finding out who we are, but it gets deeper than that. This is where the real power starts. Once we figure out who we are and how to utilize what we are, and then understand why history was reversed against us, why things was taken away from us, and why we've been called so many bad names. you know it was never about the color of a skin. It was about the inward part of divinely who we are. And that's something people are never going to admit. you know. 6 ether, and stated in count of the booklets, the 9 balls. 9 ether is the completed combination of all existing gases and chemicals. There can be nothing more powerful. This is why 9 ether is the original creator or grower. In Ethiopian culture, remember Ethiopian people, like we read in the earlier parts of this book, culture, creation means growth. Therefore, 6 ether is the reverse formula. What did I just say? 6 ether would be the Edomites or the spiritual death. 9 ether would be the Israelites or the spiritual life, which is life, the light, the reflection, the image, because they have all the qualities of the Creator. It's like Psalms 82 say, ye are all gods and children of the Most High. I can't stress it anymore. What does it say here again? Therefore, 6 ether is the reverse formula of 9 ether. The 666, the beast system, the kill, steal, and destroys those principalities and rulers of the darkness and high and wicked places. I'm keep saying 9 ether is the formula of life, and 6 ether is the formula of death. Salah. And this means that the original life-giving gases and chemicals in 9 ether dissipates and lessens to the point of ineffectiveness, and this marks the death of 9 ether. That's why in the Bible it tells you the first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. Those that leadeth into captivity will go into captivity. Those that killeth with the sword will be killed with the sword. It's talking about spiritually and physically all at the same time, because everything is in duality. That's galactic law. Galactic law is karma. Karma of cause and effect. What one generation didn't get, the next generation, will retain from what their forefathers did. Just like all the Israelites and spiritualites that went into these captivities and slavery and had to suffer these things for what their forefathers did in a different time. The ones that did it, they was gone by the time the next generation sprout up, but they had to suffer the consequences of their actions, just like those ones living in this transition period, that's forefathers did the great wickedness to us, they're going to have to suffer those consequences, and especially the ones that aren't true believers and cleavers to the children of light. But we're seeing a lot of, those, 6 ethers and other people, they starting, to graft to us. They want to be closer to us, you know. That's a smart move because it's that time. And it says, point of ineffectiveness, and this marks the death of 9 ether. We already been spiritually taken out. Question: are there any other sources who teach or discuss 9 ether in particular and ether in general? Answer: yes. The writer named Afro Ano discusses 9 ether, natural ether, universal ether, and 6 ether in the book Introduction to the Nature of Nature. Natural ether, universe ether is the blood. Remember, I told you the plasma that comes from Shemesh, the sun, that creates the spiritual light, mind, energy of the universes. Natural ether is the energy that gives light and life, and this is physically and spiritually. Those that have that spiritual essence, that use that third eye, that intuition, that clairvoyance, because it's in their DNA. That's why the Most High said in this last time that He will write the law on your heart and consciousness. So your cause and effect, when you reflect your intent on something, you are creating a balance because you are implementing the law, being a father to the fatherless, taking up on responsibilities, but not following the ways of the world. But, oh, this ain't my child. I ain't going to take care of this child. But you treat that child, if you're a companion with the parent, you treat the child like your own. But let's go on further. It's a lot of things a lot of us do, and we don't even realize we're doing it, but we implementing the law because it's already on our heart and consciousness. That don't mean don't study the law or try to figure it out. Some stuff is naturally in you. Some stuff you gotta meet the Creator halfway. So you can be a creator and a light and a reflection of your Creator. And create new things within the whole. Because God is just manifesting you. So when you creating it and you have the God aspect of the God particle unlocked, you're doing your part in the simulation. You know, Natural ether is the energy that gives light and life to the universes and the person and things therein. Universal ether is the combination of all elements and all kinds of matter, all matter